From cute and cuddly puzzlers to downright gratuitous gorefests, I'm back to bring you 5 more hidden gems that you can percolate on before you buy, and if any of you fine watchers out there have some outlandishly good titles to recommend for PS5, I would be one gabby gamer who could review it here and shout out your suggestion. I'll even throw in a special prize your way if the game makes an 8 out of 10 or above, so let's get some quality titles up in this biatch. Now, I hope you've all come ready to be wowed by this next list of cute mixed with brute. An endearing little escape room puzzle action game came our way on November 12th of 2020 that I took keen notice of. It's not every day that you can use environmental changes in solving a problem of traversing a level, but maybe that's one of the many gifts this game provides you. Developed and published by Toydium and Million Edge, along with Bushiroad Incorporated, Gift makes you scratch your noggin just enough to release some loosely affixed dandruff from your scalp. This one falls more into the category of cute, with some minor peril rather than the sanguinary upcoming suggestions. So, before the ship sinks, let's buoy out a review. If only the passengers on Titanic had as long as I did to escape this sinking ship, we would have never had to witness Rose letting Jack die when there was plenty of room left on the raft. Instead, we get a deliberate and thought-provoking tale minus the privileged passengers and a steadily building story as you ascend above decks. It doesn't break any records for action sequences, but rather uses urgency in a progressive build that moves you along, but doesn't drown you immediately in perilous purgatory. If you're up for a little boat trekking with a hint of danger, pick up Gift and try to keep your head above water. I'll give this a 7 out of 10. Limits have been pushed and cuteness has been bastardized in this awesome action hack and slash that is somewhere between the likes of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Lollipop Chainsaw. Released August 29th of 2024, Gori brings the pain from developers Angry Demon Studio and publishers Wired Productions and Couchplay Interactive. What has this world come to that evisceration of single-horned horses ranks right up there with foreplay? I'll tell you which world, the world of online dating. But I must digress. When I popped this game in, I was expecting a bit of lunacy, but I really laughed out loud on numerous occasions and begged my screen to push the envelope a little further. Let's see what I'm referring to in a Cuddly review. I know. How do you take a game like this seriously? The truth is, you take off the protection and you just raw dog it. But instead of a canine, you have a feisty feline that beelines it for absolute and utter devastation. In amidst this cartoon carnage, you get a well-paced learning curve that prepares you for wall riding, grinding, and enemy-specific techniques. It becomes a steady flow of button presses that your muscle memory acclimates to fairly quickly, especially when the screen is filled with bloody humorous eye candy and references to other huge games across all genres. For the lack of story or upgrade-heavy mechanics, the game makes up for in its style and visual development, and even though that can prove a bit repetitive, the smooth frame rate and performance of Gori rides the wave of instant gratification all the way to shore. If you like goofy games that make you feel like you just had an electroencephalogram, I say this one's perfect for you. 8 out of 10. For that Rick and Morty style humor in a first-person shooter puzzler, you can't deny that target demographic has been met with this title. Maybe not as good as similarly crafted games like Trover Saves the Universe, but still a good attempt. Released physically from Limited Run Games on December 13th of 2022 and produced and published by Squanch Games Incorporated, Justin Roiland brings us another comedic-driven gem that incorporates a sentient arsenal at your disposal, and its visuals nail the feel they were looking for. It's a title that piqued my interest immediately, and I was very excited to dive into its execution from my first-person view. Let's investigate now. Alien cartels and bounty hunting? Sounds like your everyday run-of-the-mill plotline from this Rick and Morty co-creator, and like some of that polarizing humor, it does tend to lose its luster after you've heard the umpteenth fart joke. But gun upgrades were a pleasant affair when new late-night comedy personalities were injected into your new guns, along with some suit upgrades. Enemies encountered weren't widely diverse, but some bosses were memorable and kept that urge to progress going like playing a game of skee-ball for optimal ticket acquisition. For the 10 to 15 hours I played to completion, the game held up fairly well, and what I would really like to see is a well-polished sequel that cleaned up some of the monotony, gave us some more varied jokes, diverse enemies, and maybe a better plotline for good measure. Ultimately, if you like this style of humor, I believe there's a good game here if you spend anywhere from $20 to $30 for it. I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. Now, for a completely different type of simulation, one of the climbing sort that could possibly mollify those with a mountaineering addiction, we come to a puzzler named Jusant, released in October of 2024 relatively recently, and developed and published by Life is Strange developer Don't Nod. Okay, I won't. This journey of meditation really nails that atmospheric setting with its breathtaking graphical design and its at-your-own-pace progression. It's a well-constructed gem for your PS5, especially if you need a break from the violence that plagues many selections out there. Not saying that I don't like violence or anything, just like a little deviation sometimes. With the diversity in biomes and climbing tools you get, Jusant, which in French translates to a receding tide, doesn't drown you with its difficulty, but rather opens your senses of world exploration and imagination in its well-crafted design. Kind of like Shadow of the Colossus without the colossi. Let's begin our approach and anchor in a review. I'd say this is a prime example of a mood title, the type of game you just chill with and take in the beauty. Along with this vibe, you get shifts in environments that you can use to your advantage or sometimes can add to your detriment. But scaling long areas no doubt takes some precision and good use of the tools or creature you have with you. Surprisingly, the emotive tone lands well, and along with the soundtrack by Gulam Farhan, it immerses you fully into its world. Along the arduous paths you take, you get a glimpse of prior inhabitants through notations left as the waters receded, so it becomes somewhat of a reward system if you choose to read them. Sadly, I ran into multiple crashes with this game, which hurt my overall game time. Not enough to push it into a negative score, but dropped my overall 7.5 out of 10 I would have given it to a 7 out of 10, because it did happen multiple times, and I had to put it down to avoid blowing up Sony's error report list. Hopefully, when these bugs are fixed, I can highly recommend it for most gamers. Na 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 Katamari Damashi. Only this time, it's the second in the series, remastered and overly powered with improved graphics and enhancement. I don't know why, but the silliest damn things entertain me sometimes, and rolling up entire cities starting from a thumbtack and graduating to the very earth underneath it massages my inherent obsessive-compulsive disorder and brings on the drool after hours of play. Released on May 21st of 2023, we have a title developed by Monkeycraft Corporation and published by Bandai Namco. I have to say, I liked the quirky music better in the first title, however this sequel did have some odd enough tracks to play on repeat as you execute odd behavior. Let's roll on to the review. Since the days of PS2 have passed long ago, it's nice to see some of those rare and unique titles come back to our modern era. In Katamari, size does matter. Now, I'm not usually the one who likes to be judged necessarily, but in the context of the Katamari universe, I long for the favor of the king who so obnoxiously gives his opinionated score based on my ball size. Never thought I'd hear myself say that, but I'm happy to take in the constructive criticism nonetheless. Essentially, this game scratches that addictive itch, even though the camera work can be likened to found footage at times. I still loved the roll and stick mechanic that with a little practice can swell your ball into epic proportions. Minus the cancer, of course. The fact of the matter is that this franchise will always bring me back for more humor, ball building, and irreverence. If I were coaching for this game, my advice would be to simply stick and roll. Now it's your turn. 7.5 out of 10. Whether you're on the cute team or the brute team, I'll always bring you diverse titles to hold fast to, or to blast through. Don't forget that your suggestion for one of my next games featured could land you a sweet parting gift if I can't put it down. If you like and subscribe, you'll always be the first to have access to my giveaways, so why not click away? It's good for what ails you. I'll see you all next time for my 5th volume of PS5 Gems and 5 more sensational reasons to collect. Cheers!